Okay, so that's the lab started recording. So this morning in the lecture, you were asking about last week's lab. Before we do that, I will just quickly point you to Lab 6. It's now on Teams, so it's available in the general channel in the Files tab under Week 6 Functions. So there's 3 things there. Have a go at those. Again, go back over Pablo's lecture, because a lot of the things are just alterations to what he did. However, you did ask for help with this one. So it's about creating a guessing game. Because this is Pablo's day, I am going to hand over to Pablo and he's going to take you through this. However, I don't think he can do so up until I make him... Oh no, it's okay, he can. All right, so Pablo's going to take this. Pablo, I think you can present whenever you're ready. I will cut mine and we're ready to go whenever you are.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Let me share the screen. Oh, just a second. This one. Let me see. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so let's see. The question 3 from the lab of the last week, which is asking us to to create a fully documented program that will randomly choose a number from and including 1 to 100. We should not display that number. We should ask the user to guess a number and then supply him or her some feedback to tell that their guess was too low or too high and give them another guess. Once the number is correct, we'll tell them how many guesses they took. Okay, so let's approach this question. Let's see. First of all, as we have seen today, we have to import an external library because we don't want to implement by ourselves the random function. I don't know how to do that, so better to import it. Import random. Okay. So from this point on, we can use functions that are in the random library. So let's copy here the steps, which sometimes is very useful. Oops, sorry. So first of all, create a fully documented program that will randomly choose a number from and include 1 to 100. Do not display the number. Ask the user to guess the number. Supply feedback to tell them that their guess was too low or too high, and give them another guess. Finally, when the guess is correctly, they'll tell them how many guesses they took. Okay, so let's one step by step. First of all, we have to choose random. So we have to ask the user for, sorry, I repeat. We have to create a random number between 1 and 100. Okay, so let's call it, for example, the target number, because it's the number that we want to reach, let's say. So now we can use random to generate a random number, okay? So here we can use range, okay? And you see range, choose a random number hidden from a range, start, stop, or step. We are going to use just 101, so it will include the number 100, Okay. So the first step is done. We are creating, okay, this. We are randomly creating a number between 1 and 100. The second step is do not display the number. That's easy, you have to do nothing. The third step is ask to the user to guess that number. So how can I do that?
For example, X equals to input.
Input.
Inside the brackets.
Guess number, for example.
Yeah,
right?
Guess a number.
Okay. Still missing a little bit thing here.
Because this is going to be a number, so should it not be integer?
Okay, that's perfect. I need to be sure that the number is going to be an integer. Okay, because otherwise it will X can be a string. For example, if I press the number 3, the input will understand that I'm actually telling the character 3. So I don't want that. So I will cast the input from the user to an integer number. Okay. So next step, we have the target number, and we have X, or we are going to call guess, for example. So now the third step is supply feedback to the user to tell them that their guess was too low or too high. So how can I do that? How can I know if the target number is, the guess number is lower or greater than the target number?
You'll have to use an if statement.
If anyone use the variable x like I change it to the guess. Yeah, because x is I mean x can be too many things, so let's try to be a little bit more expressive, okay, to understand, to remember. I told you we are going to be reading code 80% of the time, so let's try to read something with more sense. So sorry, say again. Someone provide me an answer, but I don't know who was. Anyway, so we need to give feedback to the users up to there until they say the correct number. Okay, so an if statement. Yeah, exactly. We have to put an if statement as if our guess, for example, is lower, okay, than the target number. So we will provide feedback, right? How can I provide feedback? Well, the easy way is to do a print statement and to print something and to say, sorry, too low. Try again. Is that correct? I guess all of you are thinking that yes, it's correct. So what happens if it's not, if our guessing is greater than the target number? Shall we use, for example, the L if guess greater than our target number? Okay. What can print here? What can we print here? Print. Sorry. Oh my God. Sorry. Too high. Try again. Okay, so half of the question, it's already done. We are supplying feedback, we are selecting a random number, we are asking to the user for a number, and we are double checking if the number that the user has entered, it matches with the target number. And we are also providing some feedback if the number is too low or too high. But I'm missing something here. Can someone tell me how I finish this if-else statement?
You need to put a else if it equals the target number.
Okay, actually, I need to end this if-else sentences with just an else. Okay, if something, do this. If not, if this, do this. If not, we assume that it was correct, right? We'll do it here. Correct. It's fine. But the question has not finished yet because, okay, I have to provide how many guesses they took. So I need to count every time the user fails. So let's create a variable number of guesses, which is 0 times. Okay. So what happens if it's too low?
You need to add a counter each time that if statement is called or run.
Say again, sorry.
You need to add a counter, so you'd put in number of guesses plus equals 1.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Actually, this cannot be 0 because at least we are going to try once, right? So this is going to be by default once. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inside of this, we are going to say that number of guesses is equal to number of guesses plus 1, or number of guesses plus, or whatever. But this is going to work. So, do you think it's the same here?
Is it good?
Yeah.
Is it good practice to put the num underscore guesses equals number of guesses per 1 and into the if else statement, or can you have it out with the else if statement? Because that's what I done.
You mean if it's a good practice to put here inside of the if else? Okay. Well, it's something that is going to happen just if the number is lower or the number is greater, right? Mm-hmm. So if I put this in another place, it may be wrong. Okay? Because it's something specific to happen here. At least, if you want to do something like else, no, at least no. I mean, there are other things, but I guess this is the most simple way you can see right now, because it's something specific that we are going to do inside of the if or inside of the elif codes. Okay, lines. So at this point, everything is fine, but you are correct. We need to provide, as you see, tell them how many guesses they took. So let's tell them. You took, comma, number of guesses, comma, number of guesses, for example. Or you try it, done. Okay, so I think that we have 90% of the code done. You see, 90% of the code of this question, it's already done. We are randomly selecting a number between 1 and 100. We are not displaying the number. We are asking the user to guess a number. We are supplying feedback to them that the guess it was too low or too high. We are giving them another guess. I think we are not giving them another guess. So this is going to run just one. You see? We will get the target number, we will get the guess, we will initialize the number of guesses to 1, then we will do the if, elif, else, and finish. So, what do you think?
Wouldn't you need to ask them to guess the number again at the bottom
Yes.
of within the loop?
Exactly. We need to iterate this until the user enters the proper name, okay? The name that the user has guessed is matches with the target name. So if I want to iterate and I don't know how many times I want to iterate, what can I use? Let's see. The better way to know it is to go to the slides about iteration.
You put it in a while statement.
Yes, because
Until
we want.
Well, it'll go until they guess the correct answer, or it goes until if you say they've only got 5 guesses.
Exactly. So why we are going to use a while loop instead of a for loop? For example, it's here. It's just on the screen. You can read it. We don't know how many iterations it's going to take the user until it matches with the target number, right? So we can use a while, which is very handy when we don't know how many times we want to iterate. So while we need here a statement when we should stop. We should stop when the target number is equal to, the guess number. That okay? Do you think that is that okay?
We don't have to check if the number is smaller than 100 and bigger than 1. I mean, it's not a negative number or a very high number. I mean,
we are not double checking negative numbers, but if you, for example, enter 200, okay, I'm sorry that 200 is greater than the target number. So you will get a message error like too high. So try again. Or if you enter the minus 30, I'm sure that minus 30 is lower than target number. So you will get a message error like, sorry, try again, too low. So
okay, that's true. That's true.
We are now seeing, we are trying to know how many times or when shall I stop. I know that I'm going to stop when the target number is equal to the guess number, okay? So to do this code working inside of the while loop, we should do 4 spaces, okay? So now I'm thinking, I guess that we don't need this anymore. This else, I guess we don't need it. Why we don't need it? We don't need it because tell me, sorry.
Because the while loop will stop if the number is correct, so you can just display that message outside of the loop.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, you are. So because we are double checking that here we don't need to take care of that. So we can put this outside of the while. So if at some point the user matches the number, it will not go here again, and we will go to the next instruction, which is printing the number of guesses. Is that correct? So this is not correct because I cannot use if without an else statement at the end. So you should finish always with else statement. Well, you can finish just with an if, but if you put an else, you are, let's say, closing the if-else statement, okay? So there is one thing missing here, and I will leave this final thing that you have to do to you, okay? This is not going to work. And it's not going to work because it's asking to the user just once. So just think about how to ask to the user a number of times. Every time the user fails, you have to ask to the user for a new number, and you have to double check that the number is correct or is not correct. Okay? You now are seeing how to approach this question. Okay, at least this is a way. There are many different ways. So I did the other way around. Exactly. You see, for example, Harpreet is saying, I did in the other way around. I'm using this thing to guess. It's perfectly fine. There are many different ways to do it. If it's different to guess, repeat it. Repeat it, but you have to have in mind where you have to stop this while. Because if you put this, okay, while it's this thing, you have to break it when numbers actually matches. So you will need here something like if they are equals, at some point you have to have here like a final statement, else, whatever, and break the loop or something, okay? So it's another way to do it. As I told you, there are many different ways to do this, but this is one approach that you can follow, and you just need to think about how to ask the user every time, okay? Not a break. Okay, sorry, Tony. Don't use the break. Okay. So you have just to think about how to ask to the user every time the user fails, okay? I think that this is the easiest part, and you have to double check that it is actually correct. And more or less now you know the approach to follow. You can do it in another way around. Don't use the break, but you can use another things, counters, whatever, comparisons, statements. So any question before we finish this and you continue with today's lab? Okay, if you have any other question, you can always do a one-to-one chat with us, and we will answer any other question. So Tony, that's all.
Thanks, Pablo. If you can stop presenting, I just want to add one wee bit.
What, your hatred of the break bit of code, Tony?
I think I've made my thoughts on that very clear.
I mean, I totally did not go to Starbucks via the break time.
Now, all I was going to say was, I'm not disagreeing with anything Pablo said, but what I want to point out is that Pablo knows how to code. So he did all that thinking and changing in code, and I really don't want you guys to do it. What I want you to do is exactly what he did, But before you get to a line of code, start to think about it. So start doing things like creating a flowchart. Okay, so you can start just doing things like what needs to happen. You need to get a number. We need to check whether it's the same as the number that we've made. Oh, but actually, how can we check it if we haven't created it first? So, so get the number. Now we can check if it's the right one, then congratulate them. And end it. We're done. If it's not, well, we need to get another number. Oh, but actually we've forgotten something. We also need to add an account. So we need to put that in the right place, which is roughly there. So we enter the number, we add the count, and then we come out and then we check it. Okay, so you can see first of all that it's starting to get really messy, and that's okay. You can work about with this to try and get the logic clear in your head before you get to the code. But once you have got it clear, yeah, it is worth taking a new sheet of paper and just making sure that it works through so that it's clear. All I'm saying is don't go straight to the code, because neither of us is as smart on Python as Pablo is. So I need to start doing this, and I highly recommend that you do the same. And Enrique is right. Once you have that, your work isn't done, because you still have to code it and you'll still make mistakes. You'll still have errors. You'll still have things you need to fix. Don't let it get to you. We all do it. And it's an iterative process. We figure out what it is that we need to do. So that's where this bit comes in. We then take that and try and code it. Nobody ever gets coding right first time. So we fix the errors and then check that it works the way we expect it to. Trust me, doing the flowchart or just writing down the steps will save you so much time when it comes to coding. All right. Any questions?
Apart from this lab, no.
All right. Okay. All right.
I have a question for the question 2 in this lab.
This week's lab.
Yeah.
Let me just bring it up.
And I've also got a question on question 1 once he's done.
Okay, basically the answer is it's only 4 lines, but the thing is that in the window, I mean in the answer window down to the code, when I'm writing my program, it doesn't put tab in every table. I mean, let me.
What I think you should do actually is go into a one-to-one, because this isn't a general question. This is a specific small error in your code. So if you request a one-to-one, you can share your code and one of us can look at it and give you an idea.
Okay.
Any other questions just now?
It's mine, and see in regards to the first one.
Uh-huh.
Are you like, I've looked up how to change it from degrees to radians to be able to work out sine, cos, and tan. But are you able to see within a function? Are you able to put like degrees? Because I was a bit puzzled by like the functions I know there's predefined ones, but I was a bit puzzled trying to keep up with the actual making of a function.
Okay, so you need to go back and look at Pablo's lecture, because making the function is very simple. You define what the function is, and then you put the commands that are going to be done in that function.
So could you, but within a function, could you put like degrees equals an input? Like a standard?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can put anything you want in a function.
And
So just like any other code. But again, you have to think about what it is you actually want to appear in the function. So it goes back to thinking about the problem and how you're going to solve it. Once you've done that, don't forget Google's your friend. So you can do things like Python define function, which will take you to the math, not maths, math. So just like you import random, you can import math.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a whole bunch of things. Oh, I hate it when you have to go through and turn off everything.
Well, you could just agree to it all. There's also that.
I could be stupid, yeah. So you can do things like that.
So see that.
Math.sin.x, but you need to make sure exactly how that works.
Oh, I think I've figured that out, but I don't know if I want to say on this.
That's all right.
I could say it on this. It could be completely wrong.
Don't forget the other thing I said. If you're doing this in code,
because see that x value, it's the one that's to be passed, so you can just change your degrees into a radian to then go through sin, tan, and cos.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that I've got that figured out in my head, but the problem is I've got a class in like an hour, so I don't want to start something to have it then half done.
As long as you get to it at some point. Any other questions just now?
Thanks, Tony.
Okay, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to stop the recording